all of that, have fun, but they're looking forward to next year. So you're saying that the light might be at the end of the tunnel. How long can this be sustainable? Can they get back there next year? Let's have this conversation, because we know this is the exact conversation they're having a couple miles up there in Foxborough. So if you look at their free agents, it's sort of a mess. They're going to have to do some things. You look at a guy like Donta Hightower, they're going to have to get that done. If Logan Ryan, who had an excellent year, probably knowing he can go get paid, if he goes and tries to get paid, I think
a lot of guys.
Listen, I think Malcolm Butler is a huge priority to re-sign. I think out of all those guys, they've got to get it done with him. They'll, of course, shuffle some money around. But a little bit of news yesterday after Ian Rappaport reported that Martellus Bennett, not friend of the show, a guy we would love to be friend of the show, first said this: I haven't given free agency a ton of thought at this moment, to be truly honest. I've been in Marty land creating for Imagination Agency. Ian Rappaport goes on to report that he is probably going to, test the waters, put himself out there. And in my head, I'm like, of course you should. Why not? You're turning 30. You're a free agent. But I want you, Nate, to take me into. I know you can't speak for him,
right?
But let's weigh out the pros and cons of maybe taking less money to stay. Does he want to stay? Should he go get paid? He has a ring now. What would it be like to go back to a Chicago team that never had a winning season when he was there?
Well, here's the thing. When you first get in the league...
Not that he'd go back to Chicago, but you go back to that feeling.
Anyway,
imagine Chris Long going back to the St. Louis Rams. Can that happen?
Well, any other team, you're going back to a team that has a possibility of not making the playoffs. That's how you look at it if you're leaving the Patriots. Sure. But here's the thing. When you make the league and you get drafted, your free agency, you're a free agent in the NFL, the first thing you think about is you want to make as much money as you can. And I know it sounds very greedy, but, for everybody at home, you leave college, you get a great job. This is a great job. So for us, we think just like anybody else working in the corporate world. Until you get the ring, until you get jewelry, then all of a sudden your mind changes to either having victories upon victories upon victories, championships upon championships, and filling up that jewelry box and becoming legendary in a certain city or with a certain team, or going to get as much money as possible. So I can't speak for them, but I know that he's in a very difficult situation because you have a ring and you're saying to yourself, I could possibly get 2, maybe 3.
You also have a brand, which is clearly very important to him. He was speaking on Twitter, or going back and forth with fans about how he knows things like the Imagination
And this is the most we've heard from Marty.
He's on this platform now where everybody sees him, everybody knows him. If he leaves that and goes and gets paid somewhere, and he can, I'm looking at the free agents among tight ends: Jared Cook, Jordan Cameron, Jack Doyle, Vernon Davis. He's at the top. He can go get paid. And he even said that, they overpay for Super Bowl stars. Yeah,
100%. But, I can't speak for him. I would love to get him on the show. What I will do is reach out to him or shoot a text message to try to get inside his mindset. But if you have a chance to go get money, I'm not going to knock you for that. But if he takes less money because he wants to win more championships, I'll commend him for that.
It's a great debate. And even last year we saw Malik Jackson go from the Denver Broncos, where he won a Super Bowl, to Jacksonville, where he became, a 48th story on the morning news in Jacksonville. That's what happens. You leave the spotlight, you take the money. There's a trade-off. Now, to me, it's not any of those guys on the list. To me, it's all about Garoppolo. What do you do with Jimmy Garoppolo? Sure. And if I'm a Patriots fan, and you said Tom Brady's going to be 40 next year, you got this kid Brissett, who played well in really limited action, one game against the Texans, they beat him. What do you do with Jimmy G? Because you've been grooming him now for 3 seasons. He's entering his 4th year. This is the final year of his contract. But before you get that, do you dump Jimmy Garoppolo and get some picks back in exchange? Do you trade him off? Do you try to get a bounty for him? Or do you just try to ride out Jimmy Garoppolo's contract and let him go with nothing? That, to me, is the biggest thing, because there are several teams that I know would line up to have an opportunity to have Jimmy Garoppolo under center week 1 next year.
Tom Curran, Comcast Sports, who I worked with up in New England, said that he thinks that somebody would have to come, Cleveland Browns or whoever, and really blow the doors off the Patriots for them to deal with.
I think he's worthy of a first-round pick.
Do that. I agree with Tom Curran.
I think he's worthy of the first overall pick.
Will the Patriots go for that? Do they want the first overall pick?
You have to consider it, because he's making $1 million this year. The next year he hits free agency, you get nothing. The first overall pick could be Von Miller. I mean, Myles Garrett's that good.
Why would Cleveland not want Jimmy Garoppolo? They really are in love with some of the corp. They're in love with